For several days in early January 1998, freezing rain pelted New York State's North Country. The weight of the ice, up to 3 inches thick, proved to be too much. Trees bent and snapped. Utility poles splintered and broke in two. Power lines sagged and transmission towers toppled. Power was cut off all across northern New York State, Vermont, Maine, and southern Quebec in Canada. 3 million customers with no electricity.
Live from the Champlain Valley's leading news station.
All I can tell you is NYSEG crews are working as fast as they can.
President Clinton declared it a federal disaster. Governor Pataki proclaimed a state of emergency, and for the people of the North Country, it was like a war zone.
Let's go. Oh my God. Oh my God.
New York State Electric and Gas was facing the worst storm in its history. 31,000 customers, more than 80% of NYSEG's 3-county, 2,000 square mile service area were left without power. The system was devastated. Transmission lines were damaged. 37 of 40 substations were put out of action. More than 2,000 utility poles were brought down. The destruction was unprecedented.
We have 1,824 miles of distribution primary, which at one point during the storm was completely out of service. Now, if you were to take a United States map and draw a line from Plattsburgh to Albuquerque, New Mexico, that would be 1,824 miles. And that's the equivalent of what we have to go out and drive by, determine whether it's damaged, and if so, repair it.
This is the Davern Road in Peru, New York.
Right now.
Anchor pulled down on that one.
Good to know. He does
This is on Halleck Hill going down into Keysville. Al Robert's house. Right in the middle of Chazy. Broken pole hanging mid-center of the road here.
NYSEG would respond to nature's terrible blow by turning to its storm emergency plan. It's a plan that's been refined and adapted through many years of fighting storms, both large and small.
Well, the Plattsburgh folks had followed their storm manual starting from the beginning. By about Saturday, when things started clearing up and we'd gotten out and done some of the initial damage assessments, we knew that we were going to have to make an organization bigger than we've ever made before and to respond to a storm.
Storm room, Bob Clune speaking.
That organization would be coordinated from the Kirkwood Storm Center in Binghamton. Here, NYSEG gathered information about the severity and extent of the storm while preparing the recovery effort.
We open up the storm room when the divisions find that they're in a situation where they have problems that they can't handle, they need additional resources. So we open up the storm room, we bring in the staff necessary to begin to assess the situation. We go to other divisions to see what their situation is. We call in crews from the other divisions and try to mobilize and get them over to the trouble area.
NYSEG sent over 1,500 people into Plattsburgh to work around the clock to restore power. There were 500 line crews, including 180 NYSEG crews from every division office across the state. Dozens of crews from utilities in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and hundreds of contractor personnel. They were backed up by a support team, NYSEG people from every division and discipline who turned the NYSEG Service Center in Plattsburgh into a beehive of activity.
Basically what you see in here is a pictorial representation of all of our distribution lines. And the people that are working in this room are gathering data from the line crews that are working in the field. They're taking that data and they're plotting it out in terms of what parts of the circuit have been restored so that people can come into this room and get a quick visual representation of the work that's being accomplished in the field. It gives us a little bit of an idea of our progress, obviously, so we can feel good that we're actually gaining on the ice storm. In addition to that, it also identifies areas that may be deficient in terms of crew needs or in terms of material requirements. If we see something is slowing down and we can begin to ask some questions, we can use this information then to try to make sure the crews have everything they need.
You want a whole box of these?
Making sure NYSEG crews had the proper amount and types of material they needed to get the massive job done would prove to be challenging. The ice storm's widespread damage had utilities throughout the Northeast vying for scarce materials. NYSEG's established relationships with its suppliers provided a key competitive edge.
Our vendors are working round the clock over the weekend, making us cable, making us transformers. We've got a great relationship with our pole deliverer, and they're on call, and all it takes is a phone call to them. They've got the trucks loaded and they're on their way. We've got poles being held in our name, and so we've been able to respond very quickly on poles.
That's a difficult call to make sure that we have material that's going to be ramped up as the crews are ramped up, so that the crews aren't waiting for the material, or the material isn't coming in too early and getting in the way of the crews.
Welsbach Electric Corporation, a power restoration contractor serving 26 utilities in 10 states, was impressed with NYSEG's ability to get materials to the worksite.
The amount of material that's needed for something like this is just so huge, and the fact that we've never been held up for 1 minute because we haven't had the material in our mind is pretty incredible. Without a doubt, this is the most devastating outage we've ever seen, and I don't think there's any utility for whom we've worked before that could grapple with an outage of this magnitude.
The key to successful storm communications is a consistent message, and that consistency begins with communications specialists compiling current information from the division's storm center.
What corporate communication does in the division during a storm is to assist the division's designated storm communicator with getting information out to employees, elected officials, and customers. In this storm, there's an important posting of information. 6 sites were selected around the office. To get a consistent message to our employees is extremely important, because they're contacting their neighbors, they're contacting people while they're rebuilding the lines, and we like to get everybody talking about the same thing.
Our customers need and want information because it's important to them, so they can make decisions that affect the well-being of their family. We knew the storm was coming early. We were able to put out information through the media to help them prepare for the storm.
Information was also shared with NYSEG's Binghamton-based call center. Here, scripted messages reassured callers that the company was aware of the power outage and that work was underway to restore it.
Yes, we do have a dry ice location in the Plattsburgh area.
We've taken over 17,000 emergency calls. More than that have listened to the upfront announcement. That exceeds 21,000 calls just hung up after they heard that we knew that there was an outage or a major interruption and that we were working.
This comprehensive communications effort was enhanced by placing NYSEG representatives at each of the county emergency operations centers in its storm-damaged service area. Gary Galarno was the NYSEG representative for Clinton County.
The superintendent of transportation is Paul Wisher.
I walked in that door at 11 o'clock in the morning a week ago last Thursday. I've been here ever since, 18, 19 hours a day. We are obviously the key player for the restoration of power, and all the agencies, state, county, federal, are working through us to get the power restored.
We have state police here, ag and markets, transportation, health, EMS, fire, you name it, we got it here. If Gary hadn't have been here, and he's been a superb person, his knowledge of the company and his ambition to do a fine job was key. If that hadn't been present, the people of Clinton County would not have had such great service.
Throughout the North Country, NYSEG line crews fought to keep their balance on an icy landscape, battling bitter cold, piercing winds, and a snowstorm that buried fallen lines under 15 inches of snow. All with a single purpose: to rebuild a battered and broken electric system and bring power to anxiously waiting customers.
Oh, this is the biggest storm I've ever seen in my life, you know. And the rottenest one to work in. I've never seen one as bad as this to work in. With the ice coming down on that, you know, slippery as heck.
It's rough, you know. We've been working long hours. It's cold. It's a lot colder than Binghamton, but, you know, we've been doing good.
NYSEG tackled the job according to a planned list of priorities, concentrating first on correcting dangerous conditions, then repairing the fundamentals of its system, the transmission lines and substations. Next, the primary distribution system was restored, giving priority where practical to lines supplying concentrations of critical life and health support customers.
That over there's a critical heart patient. We want to get him on.
Priority was also given to primary lines supplying the greatest number of customers, followed by hookups of smaller distribution lines and individual customers.
Well, we had to report that a young lady living up the road, she's 15 years old, I believe. She has cerebral palsy. So we have broken poles on this line here and primaries down. Probably by nightfall, we'll have her back on.
NYSEG was also able to bring power to 2 communities divided by the Ausable River. Stephen Godlewski runs a pharmacy on the side of the river served by NYSEG. He is also the supervisor of the town of Black Brook on the Niagara-Mohawk side of the river.
We have a unique situation where New York State Electric and Gas can feed across the river to Niagara-Mohawk, which you did very nicely and gave everybody on our side power a lot earlier than we would have got it if we had to wait for Niagara-Mohawk to give us power.
The terrain of the North Country is vast and remote, making much of it inaccessible by truck or on foot. NYSEG responded with special equipment. While one helicopter flew transmission lines to speed damage assessments, another was used to repair lines in areas where conventional equipment and techniques would be too slow and too costly. A specialized tracked vehicle was used to cut and clear ice-covered right-of-ways, littered with fallen and damaged trees. Agriculture is a major industry in the North Country. Dairy farmers, heavily dependent on electricity, were hit hardest by the ravages of the ice storm. And NYSEG moved quickly to meet special needs among its 750 farm customers.
We have a special committed group of field planners that are going farm to farm, each and every farm that we have, working to get them on some sort of restored power. Dairy cows have to be milked a minimum of twice a day, and that milk has to be cooled and shipped. So the first thing is animal health, getting the cows milked twice a day so they don't develop severe mastitis, and ventilation. That's another big criteria. Watering, cows have to drink a lot of water a day, 30 to 40 gallons of water a day, so water has to be pumped. So we have to first meet those basic needs. I've been here 8 years, and to my 8-year career here, I've not seen anything of this magnitude.
While the problems of farmers and their livestock were immediately evident, a destructive storm of this size can pose unseen threats to the environment if potential hazards are not found and fixed.
Well, when the ice storm occurred, it caused the pole to fall, and the transformers fell, and one of them leaked approximately 40 gallons of dielectric fluid into this driveway here. And the crew's here to clean it up so that when snow thaws, it doesn't run down into the apple orchard down there. Well, we have over 100 spills reported from the storm, and we're approximately 40% of the way through it right now. We'll keep on going until we hit them all.
As the cleanup and restoration progressed, the optimism of the NYSEG workforce increased.
I think there's definitely an excitement among our employees, as well as a concern for the customers that they're running into day in and day out.
The local people have been great, you know, really helpful. Farmers have been plowing us so we can get into the poles, pulling us out, we're stuck. You know, they've been really good.
They've just been fabulous, and they have been really inconvenienced, but they still keep smiling, and I have not run into an agitated customer yet.
Up north in Quebec, nearly 3 weeks after the storm, a small French-speaking village was still without power. In the spirit of international cooperation, NYSEG worked jointly with Hydro-Quebec to restore power to the village of Lacolle, sparing its residents several more weeks of darkness. NYSEG also helped customers throughout the storm, delivering over 400,000 pounds of dry ice to a network of fire departments for distribution. While line crews were the most visible element of NYSEG's restoration effort, many people labored behind the scenes to support the massive work effort. Men and women worked the phones to find accommodations for the 1,500 people assembled to bring power back to the North Country. To speed the recovery effort, others used trucks and vans to deliver meals and coffee to line crews working in the cold, enabling them to remain at their work sites. And meals were brought to the operations center to keep it humming 24 hours a day. Special phone lines were set up so NYSEG families back home could get daily storm updates or contact employees working on the storm.
And we have an 800 number that you can call 24 hours a day.
Over 1,800 calls were taken by the family line. Operation Iceberg, as it came to be known, was indeed a massive recovery effort. The unprecedented damage required over 1,500 people working around the clock for over 2 weeks to restore power to NYSEG's 31,000 customers in the Plattsburgh division. Nearly 2,000 utility poles, over 1,800 miles of line, enough to stretch from Plattsburgh to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and more than 800 damaged transformers were replaced. NYSEG's comprehensive storm emergency plan provided the framework for this successful restoration effort and enabled NYSEG to become the first major utility to restore power to all of its customers. They in turn expressed their gratitude with signs displayed across the region. As the restoration wound down, federal, state, and local officials all praised the company's efforts as well.
New York State Electric and Gas did a fantastic job.
I see Wes Van Schack,
Yes,
CEO
Wes.
of NYSEG here. We can't commend you and the crews enough.
Every single person that's here deserves so much credit. Just what the chairman just said, Al and John and Chris knows, Don knows. It's unbelievable what the utilities have done here.
But NYSEG didn't do it alone.
Coming down.
The destruction strengthened the spirit of the North Country, where powerless customers exhibited patience and compassion in helping each other through the storm. NYSEG stood shoulder to shoulder with emergency workers, the National Guard, state and local police, public officials, and the news media to put this community back on its feet. It was, as Wes Van Schack put it afterwards, an extraordinary and remarkable effort that made NYSEG proud.
Everything that we see up here in the North Country is a community effort. Everyone has chipped in and they've been working together to get, I think, tremendous results. So NYSEG is part of the team. NYSEG is not alone. We can't do this alone. We've got great people. They're doing a wonderful job, but it is truly a team effort up here.
Got to skid in all the material.